Mr. Zinser, can I just ask a quick question? I apologize. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So, how long was your investigation? How long did it take? When did it start? What calendar, month, year, and when did it end? Or is it still ongoing?
Well, we started in June of 2009.
A little louder.
We issued our first report in January of 2010. We issued our second report in July of 2010. Our third report in September of 2010. There are some other reports that we put together. Some are not issued publicly. We'll probably do a couple more reports on some follow-up items. We're also doing some audits on the work that NOAA is doing to implement the recommendations. We actually go back in then and systematically look to see that what they say they've done, they've actually done.
Right.
So that's probably going to go on for another year.
Wow, okay. And what is your sense on this supposed missing money, the 40 million or whatever? Do you think it's just an accounting issue that somehow the money went out into another bucket of the federal government?
Exactly.
You think that's, so it stayed within the federal government. You don't think that ended up in someone's pockets, is your sense?
Exactly. No, it was just accounted for differently outside of what NOAA is now defining as the asset forfeiture.
Right.
The big finding is that the asset forfeiture fund had never been precisely defined. So when KPMG came in and started asking, well, what constitutes the asset forfeiture fund, NOAA wasn't very helpful in trying to define that better. So KPMG said, well, these are all the proceeds coming in from these various enforcement proceedings, so they just grouped it all together.
Right. If you had to pick the top thing that you think was the most startling or abusive or inaccuracy in your report, what would it be?
Which report?
In any of them, then.
I think the discretion that was delegated to the enforcement attorneys to set the penalties themselves without any kind of further review or any kind of rigor was probably the most shocking.
Is that unusual in the federal government that an enforcement attorney would set the penalties? What would the process normally be?
Well, my experience is at the Transportation Department, and in that case, the inspectors, the regulatory inspectors themselves would recommend the penalty, and then it would be up to the attorneys to take that enforcement action forward or settle the case. In this case, you had the enforcement attorneys not only setting the penalty amount, but also negotiating its resolution.
Which gave them more of it made it more onerous in essence on the people that were trying to settle, because they knew if they didn't settle, they were dealing with the person that could find them. Is that correct? Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks for your